that we can't recognize it. But I think Einstein's special theory of relativity on what happens to mass at speed says that can't be true. And because I did a lot of work with neutrinos at one of these laboratories I worked at, and it appears that neutrinos do have no mass, and maybe and a neutrino is really just as a photon, its own antiparticle. It's possible that the neutrino is actually a form of light energy or electromagnetic radiation. We just don't know about that yet. I'm not sure the relationship of neutrinos to light, but we'll find out someday. It doesn't disprove anything I've said. All it really says is there are still questions unanswered. Now, as to your question about why I chose Islam, now, because some people here are not Muslim, I don't want to insult anybody and their religion, because, of course, we have great respect in Islam for everybody's religion. But so without saying anything disrespectful, I will just say this was my opinion. I don't know that, I actually, when I was young, didn't know anything about any religions, because as was mentioned, I was a really confirmed atheist, absolutely convinced God didn't exist. So I've never actually been a believer in any other religion but Islam. I've been Muslim now for about 25 years. But after I came to know that God existed, I thought, well, I should look for a religion to be a member of. And as I looked for a religion, of course, living in the Western country at the time, I first looked at Christianity. And when I say I looked at these different religions, I lived in, say, Christian monasteries and spoke with philosopher priests, and I lived, when I was looking at the Hindu religions, I traveled to India and lived in ashrams. When I was looking at the Buddhist religions, I traveled to Thailand and Cambodia and lived in Buddhist temples and monasteries there. So I had a really deep look at the different religions. And my opinion is, and please don't let anyone feel insulted about this, my opinion was, if I wanted to remain an objective scientist, I, for example, could not be a Christian. Because most Christians who are scientists, you'll see them when they get their prizes, like they'll be awarded a Nobel Prize, then they get interviewed, and someone says, are you a Christian? And you'll say, yes. And the interviewer will say, how do you reconcile your religion with your science? And then the person will say, oh, I keep my religion and my science separate. Well, I can't keep my religion and my science separate. They really have to say the same thing. And in all due respect to Christianity, Christianity asks me to believe what I call, a few things that I found it hard as an objective scientist to believe. I don't want to say what they were, because that might be considered offensive to somebody's faith. The Hindu faiths, wow, absolutely amazing. A lot of really deep knowledge there, but most of it, without being rude once again, naive from a modern scientific point of view. And from my point of view, having probably way too many gods for me to feel comfortable with. And Buddhism, really nice way of life, but the personal relationship with God seemed to be missing. I almost didn't, to be honest, and I don't mean to be rude to Muslims now, I almost didn't bother to look at Islam, because having grown up in the United States, the only thing I knew about Islam was that it was no good. And probably considered it a naive, superstitious religion. And interestingly, many Christians in America consider Islam to be a pagan religion, because they don't realize when we say Allah, we're actually talking about the same God that they believe and the same God that the Jewish people believe in. So I almost didn't bother to look at Islam because of that. Looked at the other three, found I couldn't be a member of those and still remain what I considered an objective scientist. I thought, well, I'll read the Quran. I read the Yusuf Ali translation with commentary. I read it and evaluated it the same way I would read a textbook. And what I found was, in my years of searching for truth and in the world, that I found no discrepancies at all between what I had already found to be truth and what it said in the Quran. And additionally, the Quran and Islam did not ask me to believe anything that I found difficult to believe as a objective scientist, and so that's how I ended up as a Muslim. Any other questions? If not, we'll end the talk this note.
Thank you, Doctor, for your speech.
Thank you.
You said earlier, as matters move faster, the time is shorter. And at the speed of light, the time is zero. And if we can exceed the speed of light, does that mean that we can travel too fast? And we can really exceed the speed of light?
Well, if anybody knows the name, there is a theory that says there is a particle that travels faster than light, and instead of its maximum speed being the speed of light, its minimum speed is the speed of light. Anyone remember the name of that particle? Anyway, there is a theory to say that. But Einstein's special theory of relativity said that nothing can travel through space faster than the speed of light. See, the only thing that we know of that can travel faster than the speed of light is actually the expansion of space itself. When the universe, in the first seconds that the universe was created, it was probably space was expanding probably thousands and thousands of times the speed of light. And the universe has slowed down greatly as it has expanded so far from the original singularity. But as far as we know, all of the theories so far, all of the substantiated theories and all of the experimental evidence says nothing can travel through space, no thing, no bit of matter can travel through space faster than the speed of light, that the speed of light is an absolute. One of the reasons it's an absolute is because at the speed of light, mass becomes infinite, and it would take infinite energy to move infinite mass. It would take more than all the energy that existed in the whole world to move something that we would assume that if mass became infinite at the speed of light, I don't know how something becomes greater than infinite, but if you could go faster than the speed of light, it would have to become even greater and would require more than infinite power or force to move it. So anyway, it's generally accepted in physics that nothing can travel through space faster than the speed of light, with the exception of one theory I know of that has not been proven at all, and most people don't believe in it. It says there is a particle whose minimum speed is the speed of light, but generally travels much faster than that.